Hey, this is Al Bain from Al Bain for Leather. So, on January 2nd, we shot a little video talking about the Cobra Class 14 splitter. Okay, so here's the machine in question. Okay, basically, Vince Alvarado from the Leather Machine Company came over here to help me replace the blade and tune up the system and create a video so that people could understand what he's talking about when he's walking them through it on the phone. Okay, because it ends up taking him an hour or so at work to get somebody to work through this process. So we thought it'd be a good idea to detail some of those details in the video, but ended up not doing a good enough introduction and making a couple fumbles while doing it. Now Vince isn't here anymore. He's back doing his thing. It's a week or so later, and now we find ourselves with an incomplete video. So this is basically an introduction to the video. So Vince came here to change the blade and teach us all how to calibrate the system so that it's working. Don't want you to think that when you get that machine brand new that you have to do something to calibrate it or anything like that, because it comes from the factory already pre-adjusted, pre-lubricated, pre-calibrated and stuff. What ended up happening is my machine ended up needing a new blade because we use it a lot. Anyway, so when you open the box, getting a replacement blade, there's the box that came in, and here is the blade. Okay, this thing, the new blade, is very sharp. Okay, be extremely careful when you're handling it. It comes with this weird little waxy rubber coating on the edge. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that? I was able to slip it off the replacement blade. You can see my thumbs going underneath it. And put it back on this one. So basically this old blade is going back to get resharpened and honed, and then it'll be here and I'll have a spare. Okay, so that blade resides in the back. So this is the back side of the machine, and we'll be going into detailed conversation about these big screws here. It's really hard for me to do this when in selfie mode. There's the back stop screw 1, 2, the middle one, and 3, the operator's left side. And then these set screws that are in the top of the blade here, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and the adjustment for the roller height is this knob here. So this is the set screw, and what happens is you pull this little knob ring forward toward you and then adjust. There's a little gear system right here that locks it in place. So if you don't pull on this ring, then it's not going to move around too much. So you have to pull it, disengage the pins from the teeth and the gear, and then slide it around to your desired location. Me, I've got a couple spots that I've put a little tape on and made some marks, like some destinations for the work pieces that we're cutting and stuff like that. You don't have to really worry about that at all because they're just tools that I use. But I hope you understand why we're making the video. It's kind of rough. Pardon my poor cinematography. Is that what the word is? Anyway, hope you're well. Have a good day, and please excuse the crappy video and the fact that I recorded all in vertical mode. Anyway, thanks a bunch. Bye. Hey, how's it going? This is Al Bain from Al Bain for Leather, and I'm standing here with our good buddy Vince Alvarado from the Leather Machine Company in Southern California. So check it out. We're going to talk about basic setup for the blade on the Class 14 splitter. So if you look right here, there's the blade system and the mounting brackets and everything, and Vince has already got it kind of loosened up. And the troubleshooting that we're going to go through is when you start splitting, and it starts out at the desired thickness, but as the split gets longer and longer and longer, it gets thinner and thinner, and eventually it would shave the top of your leather off and give you an inconsistent split. So stick around and let's see if we can't do something interesting and get some information out there for everybody. Thanks a bunch. What we're looking at here is from the back of the machine. I'll move out so you can see where as we're approaching. And then Vince has got his trusty flashlight aimed in at the stop. So you can see this little block where my pencil tip is touching. Okay, that's the stop. There's one on the left and another one right here on the right. Okay, so what you're going to do when you're setting up the blade is you're going to loosen up all of the set screws. These two on the end, and which is, this one's a 6mm Allen, and then a flathead screwdriver, 3 of them in the center of the blade, and then the other one on the other side. Okay, and once you get them all loose, you're going to push the blade all the way forward until the tip of the blade touches the stop right there. Don't worry about dulling the blade because that area is outside of the cutting area. So push it up there. Don't slam it in there. Use a little gentle move and just push it slightly forward up there. Okay? And once it's touching, then you're going to do the business card trick. Okay? There's a lot of ways people do lots of different things, lots of procedures. This may or may not be suited to how you think because some people are a little more mechanically inclined with their tools, but we're going to pass on Vince's way of doing the thing so that you get the idea. So Vince uses a business card, the trusty Leather Machine Company business card. Imagine that. He could be using an Albane for Leathers. You don't like the Albane for Leather card, buddy?
No, this is better.
All right, anyway, so there you go. He uses a business card, and what he's going to do, he's going to put it behind the end stops, okay? And he's putting it in so he gets just a little bit of friction. It's not going to be jammed in there tight and pinching it. So it just can go in, and you see he's moving it a little bit. You can just feel, okay? And he's lining all 3 of them up so that they have about the same amount of friction, okay? So once he's got that, he's going to go back and loosen the center screws. Mind you that the outer screws are already loose. Okay? Now he's grabbing the blade and sliding it back. So he's sliding it back the total of 1 business card thickness, and now he's going to tighten the center screws from the center to the outside like a normal flange. So center, left, and then right. Now he's putting a little torque on there, and now you have the blade up against the rear stop. So once you do that, he's going to do it a total of 3 times. So there's 1. He's doing the center. And then the far right. So this is going to be the 3rd time already. We already did this procedure once. Now he's loosening the center screw. And the outer sides. He's going to slide the blade back again. Just a little itty bitty distance, the thickness of a business card, and tightening the screws up in the center again.
Your time is the last time you need to do it.
Okay, so a total of 3 times. See how he's moving the card in there? He's feeling to see that he's got the same amount of friction. Loosening them up this time. And then sliding the blade back. And now retightening.
That's it. And then...
So the blade is now evenly spaced from its stops.
Then I tighten the ends.
And then the ends, he's locking them down with the 6mm Allen key that's provided in your toolkit when you first buy the machine.
And now, once that's done,
okay, we'll be right back. Okay, so now that we have the blade positioned in the appropriate position away from the center of the roller, what we're going to talk about is the space between the roller and the cutting edge of the blade. So what we have here is the magic business card, and what Vince has done is he's slid it underneath the blade, and let me see if I can get a shot of it. Underneath the blade, between the blade and the roller. We need more light over here. Okay, you can see the leading edge of the blade, and it's cutting a little bit of the paper on the card, but the card is under the blade and between the roller. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide it over to the right and feel that we have the same amount of friction all the way across. So this is the end result, what we want to see happen. But what ends up happening when you position the blade the first time, it's probably going to be too close to the roller. So what ends up happening is you come over here to the side of the machine, and there's a spring here underneath the bottom block. This is the roller block, and here is the tension spring and a lock nut and the adjustment nut. The lock nut is on the bottom and the adjustment nut is on the top. So what ends up happening is you loosen the lock nut, the bottom one, and you end up turning the nut so that it compresses the spring more, and it lowers this upper block enough so that you can get the business card in there. And you do that, the same thing on the other side. So Vince's theory is that you adjust it on the operator's left to where the card is just barely going through there, and then slide it over, and what happens is suddenly there's too much friction on the operator's right. So then you lower it over on the operator's right. But there's a little complication on the operator's right side in that the gearing system and the pulley and the hand wheel and everything are in the way, so you have to turn the hand wheel so that it exposes underneath the V of the gear there. So now you're going to work through this space here and get your wrench in there, and now that you're familiar with the other side with the lock nut, sorry, I can barely get the camera, lock nut and the adjustment nut, after you've got a little experience with it on the opposite side, now you can work in the complicated side through that little opening there. Okay, so once you get that blade where you've got even friction on both sides, then you should be good to go. But don't forget to set the lock nut up and double check your inspection there. Okay? So here we go. Now what we're going to do is, after we've done the inspection and the adjustment of the blade distance with the credit card or the business card trick, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the height of the top roller. So Vince is going to adjust it all the way down to the tightest position, and then he's going to use this magic flashlight. He's going to stick it in behind, right between the roller, and he's going to look that he can't see any light coming through the space between the upper and the lower roller. If he does find light coming through, then he's got to adjust the height of the roller. So he's going to go to the side that's higher, and he's going to loosen the lock nut, and then use a flathead screwdriver in the top to adjust the height. Okay, so there's the wrench on the nut. He's going to loosen it up, and then he's going to adjust with the screwdriver. Once he's found that the roller is in contact again, then he's going to cinch up the lock nut and tighten it up.
And you hold the screwdriver and don't allow it to move as you're tightening it, because you will change the tension under daylight. And then you go back and
he's going to inspect it again.
No light. Good to go.
He can't see any light. Now your roller is evenly spaced. Now he's going to spread it all the way open to the widest point, and he's going to double check all of his inspections again.
And make sure all the nuts are tight on both sides. Everything's good, and you have a perfectly adjusted splitter.
Okay, well, this is Albane for Leather, and our good buddy Vince from the Leather Machine Company. We would like to wish everybody a Happy New Year, considering this is January 2nd now, right?
Yes, sir.
So, Albane for Leather, all that we ask is that you pay it forward and be good to each other. All right, have a pleasant year. Say bye, buddy.
Later.